couple days ago, YouTuber Ryan Beard put out a video on singer-songwriter David, who had allegations levied against him that he killed his girlfriend. And in this video, Ryan writes a parody of David's music where he jokes about Ethan Klein killing his dog Shredder by feeding it too much cheese.
On September 16, I killed my dog in a dream. I fed him too much cheese, and then he passed away.
In chats, Ryan denied that this parody was about Ethan rather that it was just a subtle reference. And along with this, Ryan got various responses from some of Ethan's fans disappointed in his choice to bring this up, stating that they think it's needlessly cruel and that Ethan was just doing what his vet told him to do. However, Ryan had a back and forth with Ethan himself in DMs, which Ethan posted on his story, where in it, Ryan doubles down, saying it's fine to take jabs at Ethan Klein for being a bad pet owner, and that it's unfair to invoke snark because that's guilt by association. Welcome to the internet versus Ryan Beard and Ethan Klein. It starts when No Month posts in the H3H Production subreddit comments on Ryan's new video defending Ethan. And there's one from Dinosaurus Rex saying, "Pretty disappointed in your comparisons. I think making fun of someone who is desperate to help their dog, a dog which then died and he cried about it, clearly showing he cares and loves it, is really not an empathetic thing to do. I've watched for years and was hoping for a better stance here. I don't hate you or wish you badly. I just think this world could use more empathy. Also, what would the victim's family think about this song? I don't know. It's all a bit yucky. Good luck. And though losing a subscriber won't do anything, I'm sad to leave your channel." There's a comment from Parking Tigers who says, "Where's the video on Hassan? Ryan's silence means something." Cup of Soup says, "What does Ethan's dog have to do with a child's murder?" Text Sketch says, "What the fuck was that ending?" And there's another comment that's cut off the username, but they say, "Yeah, can't help but echo the comments a bit here. I like you, dude, but that song was the definition of bad taste. With genuine all due respect, what the fuck were you thinking? Everything was fine till it's a parody about a dead girl with H3 references. Like, I don't know, usually the parodies are funny, but this one just didn't feel right to me. I'm gonna have to take a break from your videos after this. Sorry, that put a real nasty taste in my mouth." Tearjerk says, "Justice for Celeste. That part about Ethan's dog is pretty mean and cruel though. As a pet owner, I empathize with him, and feel as though it wasn't necessary to include in this video about a teenager's death." Messiah says, "Everyone is complaining about the song, but I think this whole video is unethical. Covering a recent crime of this caliber is sick and frankly irresponsible. Ryan, you make 2 to 3 videos a year. This story just came out, and this is the video you're making? The fuck?" Songko Sensei says, "Perhaps you can make a self-aware parody of Eminem's Stan next. Dear Ethan, I wrote you in the members chat, but you still ain't letting me call in. Pathetic, ghoulish attempt to gain back relevance by mocking the traumatic death of a pet. Guided on advice of his vet until the end." And last YouTube comment here is Redav, who says, "If you ever had someone close to you, you know when they die or when something tragic happens, you second guess and question everything. Could I have gone to the doctors/vets quicker? Would this have happened if I didn't feed them this? If I didn't leave the house at this exact moment in time, would this have happened? Etc, etc, etc. Using Ethan's comments he made in a time when he was extremely vulnerable and heartbroken at the loss of a beloved family pet and making a dumb song mocking this, in the same video about the murder of an innocent teenager is despicable. Shame on you, Ryan." Opie then follows up their post by saying, "Here's videos defending and saying what poor taste Ryan did with his parody. I found a comment saying that it's pretty tasteless to include a parody song and video about Ethan killing his dog to a 14-year-old girl who was murdered by a rapper, and I wholeheartedly agree. We love you, Ethan. I'm sorry people still bring this to you to hurt you." Tangled Weeb then posts a response comment that Ryan left on his page. With the caption, Ryan addresses the parody song that mocked Shredder's death. And it's Ryan saying, "Hey guys, I've gotten a few comments saying they find the parody song a bit tasteless. I know that explaining comedy can ruin the joke, but the purpose of the song is to show how if David released a song about killing dogs, everyone would understandably find it incredibly uncomfortable and weird. But when he released a song about killing women, people thought it was totally normal. I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy of how people in society get more offended about violence against animals than they do about violence against women. Of course, we should also care about violence against dogs. We should care about violence against anyone. And any creator who mistreats their dogs should be held accountable for their actions no matter who they are. And I don't care about catering to various fan bases on the internet or massaging the egos of people who get mad when you call out mistreatment. If you do something I consider harmful, I'm going to call you out on it no matter who you are, and I would expect people to do the same with me." Opie then follows up saying, "Edit, Ryan is now calling Ethan a bad dog owner," and attaches a link to this image which Ryan says, "Yes, Shredder died of kidney disease." And Ethan said himself on his podcast that the high sodium content in cheese can lead to kidney disease if you feed too much of it to small dogs, and he wishes he would have done that research ahead of time. It's fine to feed dogs cheese in proper amounts, but feeding small dogs too much cheese can be dangerous for them, which Ethan himself admitted on the podcast. I didn't claim with 100% certainty that feeding the cheese is definitely what killed his dog. Maybe the kidney disease was unrelated to the cheese. I just made a subtle jab at Ethan because I do think he deserves to be made fun of for his negligent treatment of his dog. It's your responsibility as a pet owner to properly research what is and isn't healthy to feed your dog. You all know that if Hassan did the exact same thing with his dog, Ethan would never stop talking about it. You all need to take the L and back down because it is obviously bad that Ethan didn't do the proper research in crafting his dog's diet, and you are all acting like massive hypocrites for acting like Hassan is the most evil dog owner of all time while ignoring Ethan's behavior. behavior. And to be clear, I also made fun of Hassan in the song by referencing how he potentially shocks his dog, and based on the evidence available, I think it seems like he does. To me, it seems like both Hassan and Ethan are bad dog owners, and if you're super offended that I made fun of both of them, you can cope and seethe. Back over to the Reddit post, OP continues by saying, Ethan explains in the video, which people love to share around, that he and Ethan had taken Shredder to the vet on 3 separate occasions in the last year, attaching this clip which we'll look at here in a moment. They continue explaining that his symptoms were essentially turned away. Ryan's Ethan should have done research claim is outright bullshit. Ethan had done exactly what a responsible dog owner should do, which was take his pet to the vet when he saw a change in behavior. And then here's the clip that OP attaches.
Cheese. He loves cheese, and I was always sprinkling cheese on his fucking food. And I just wish to fuck, and I'm so pissed at the stupid fucking vet, too, because I took him to the fucking vet 3 times in the past year. I took him 3 fucking times in the past year because he was puking. He was not interested in his food. His breath was super stinky. We thought he had dental problems. And the fucking vet never motherfucking once said anything about Lyme disease. And I could have changed his diet back then, dude.
Just like the minute that we heard about the kidney, obviously we start Googling everything. And then it's like, it's all clear. There's so much information. Like, if they ever just mentioned that, it's just frustrating. I mean, we went there specifically for his bad breath, and now we know that that's one of the symptoms, but they never even mentioned, like, let's look at his kidneys. Maybe we need to check that.
And if only I fucking knew that then, we could have prevented this shit. Like, fuck. Alfredo's never getting cheese again, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Remarkable March replies to the thread by saying, oh, it's funny talking about the traumatic death of a dog and putting up a similar picture of said dog while parodying the harassment statements that Ethan killed him. Glad he cleared that one up. Douche. And Honeybee Mary says, as fast as he earned my subscription, he lost it just as fast. Nothing about that song was funny. Ethan then also responds on his story to Ryan, and in his story he posts messages between himself and Ryan, and we'll start by reading the messages here at the bottom. It starts with Ethan saying, a super funny new video, I love the part where you joked about me killing my dog. And then Ryan hearts it and replies saying, I think it's totally reasonable to poke fun at you for being negligent and not properly researching what you should be feeding your dog, which you admitted to yourself in your stream when you said that you wish the vet would have told you that too much cheese is dangerous for the kidneys of small dogs. You and I both know that if Hassan did the exact same thing, you would never shut up about it. And Ethan captions this, Ryan Beard thinks it's funny and reasonable to make me relitigate the most heartbreaking and painful loss of my first dog, Shredder. He thinks it belongs in the same video about someone murdering a child and stuffing them in the trunk. Then there is more messages, we'll read those first. It starts with Ethan Klein saying to Ryan Beard, K, I hope Snark enjoys your videos, bro. Good luck. And Ryan replies, fuck Snark. I think they're pieces of shit. You can't just use Snark guilt by association to dodge all accountability. Just like Destiny couldn't just blame Snark to dodge you bringing up him having CP on his computer. And Ethan replies, you are basically accusing me of killing my child as holding me accountable? That's insane. That's it. Bye. And Ryan says, I think you were a negligent pet owner. Ethan captions this at the top by saying, the only reason I felt comfortable DMing him is because he was frequently in our podcast live chats, being pleasant and complimentary, and obviously trying to self-promote, which I didn't mind. I complimented his Destiny video and encouraged people to watch it. Other than these very recent pleasantries, I have never spoken to this man in my life. Then there's more messages here at the bottom, starting with the message we read from Ryan and then Ethan responding, I saw what you told BadEmpanada too. Very nice friends you have. Snark and BadEmpanada are loving your content, brother. And Ryan replies, more guilt by association? I obviously hate BadEmpanada. No one has directed more harassment at me than him. He still attacks me regularly. That doesn't mean I won't have a conversation with him. I'm also not a fan of your friend Dan Saltman, but I was also willing to have similar conversations with him. Anyway, at this point, I think you, Hassan, and Destiny are all egotistical douches that I don't want anything to do with. And Ethan Klein captions this at the top there by saying, this was after BadEmpanada leaked his private conversations with Ryan Beard in which Ryan said miserable things about me, despite claiming to be a fan of the show in our live chats. Although Ryan said many insanely incorrect and offensive things about me to BadEmpanada, I let it go because it was part of a private conversation with his very dear friend. I have never spoken ill of Ryan despite all of this. And just for a little bit of context for the BadEmpanada and Ryan Beard messages, here's just a couple of them that Gaslighting Document posts in the HRH Productions subreddit with the title, some of my fave parts of the Ryan Beard / BadEmpanada convo. And there's one here of Empanada saying, this guy has only ever gotten benefits from being Jewish. And Ryan says, yeah, I think that's generally true outside of like being upset by hate speech thrown his way, but that's not like material oppression. This was in May 31st, 2025, by the way. Another one from Ryan saying, I guess my question is, do you genuinely think that Ethan wants to ethnically cleanse Palestine? To me, it feels like intuitively he doesn't want this, but then he allows the propaganda he he's been taught in Hila's influence and his own fear to cause him to get off track. Then there's another message saying, I think Ethan definitely is a Zionist, even though he thinks he isn't one. I was on the fence until I saw him saying that if Jews become a minority, they will be genocided. And another message saying, that's like the core of Zionism. And Ryan says, yeah, you're right. He's weaponizing the trauma of the Jewish community. And can you please try to see me in good faith here? I'm not trying to sweep Ethan's actions under the rug. I always try to predict what counter arguments people could make against me so that I can strengthen my arguments and have airtight criticisms. And OP follows up saying, BadEmpanada did release these, but I haven't seen anyone dispute that they're real. Ryan, what benefits do you think Ethan has gotten from being Jewish? Over on r/leftoversage3, DSBat screenshots these posts by Ethan and captions them by saying, Ethan Klein's triple crash out over Ryan Beard's Dog Cheese song, butthurt alert. And Dusty VT replies, only I can accuse other people of animal cruelty and negligence. If you do it to me, I will litigate. And Slackjaw Festus Hagen replies, right, like don't start shit, won't be no shit. It's that simple. And Dusty says, accuses one of the Paul brothers of animal abuse. Shredder happens. Prong collar happens. Tried to cancel Hassan. Lost a shitload of subscribers and continuing. Accused Hassan of being a pedophile. Pedo troll happens. Honey and Cinnamon says, I don't even care that Ryan hates us, Lamau. I don't particularly care for Ryan either. But he's spot on. If Hassan fed Kaya cheese until she died, blamed the vet for not telling him that cheese has so much sodium and can lead to kidney failure, he would accuse Hassan of severe animal abuse. And Roman P replies, whatever you think about Ryan, they do not deserve the harassment from the H3 fans that is inevitably going to come from Ethan's stories. And Gooey Goon replies, 100%. Even if you hate Hassan or share politics with the pedo troll or whatever, I think it is a bad idea to associate with someone who at this point probably is the most morally consistent in his habit of always stabbing his friends and people who associate with him in the back for slop content over anything else. I can't name a single celebrity that has more beefs than the pedo troll, and most of them are former friends and associates. Cam Sasaki also posts one of these stories on the HH Production subreddit with the caption, Ryan Beard is even more insane in Ethan's DMs. And Upstairs Location replies, who doesn't give their dogs cheese? I'm tired of people acting like he was giving him chocolate or something. What the fuck? Also, it's only thanks to Ethan that I know grapes are not okay for dogs. What the fuck? And OP replies, I had to rush my dog to the vet when she swallowed a whole grape when she was a puppy. They made her vomit and retrieved the full grape, luckily. Some dogs will just get a little sick. Some dogs will die. And Minimal replies, Jesus F. Christ. We have these popular sweet bread bun products with raisins in the country where I live, and my sons love to eat them by picking the raisins out. And oftentimes I found them all over the floor. And my dog is a scavenger who eats anything. I had no idea. Womp 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 yeah replies, how disgusting. Cannot fucking believe these people are comparing murder and blatant animal abuse with feeding your dog cheese. If lovingly feeding your dog cheese is a crime, I am also guilty and so are most dog lovers. Sending Ethan and Hila so much love. Weaponizing the death of Shreddy is so cruel and unfair. And OP replies, I also want to point out the main reason Ethan fed Shredder cheese. Because of how picky of an eater he was. He had to put cheese in the food bowl sometimes so he would eat. Ethan talked in length about how he would have to sometimes hand cook all of his meals just to get him to eat. And Double Squealux replies, yep, my dog had kidney disease and she lost her appetite often. I genuinely regret not giving more tasty toppings to keep her weight up. She loved sour stuff, so I would pour a little kefir on top of her food to get her to eat. Because at a certain point, it's better they eat anything than nothing at all. Another Ethan Klein Instagram story makes its way to Leftovers H3 when Peace and Love 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 posts it with the caption, dogs can eat cheese in moderation, not with every meal. And it's Ethan saying, so I'll say this once for Ryan Beard and anyone else interested in using this tragic loss as a weapon against me. 1, in a state of grief and vulnerability, I expressed the guilt for feeding my dog cheese and lamented if this had anything to do with the kidney disease that ultimately took him. 2, in my grief, I felt an outsized sense of guilt, despite cheese being totally fine for dogs to eat. Importantly, our other dog, Alfredo, who was the same age, size, and diet as Shredder, is perfectly healthy with no kidney issues. I even did extensive lab work on him after Shredder's diagnosis to ensure there weren't any habits that contributed to kidney damage. His kidneys were operating perfectly normal then and now. 3, we and the doctors don't know why he developed kidney disease at age 5. The most likely explanation is that it was a tragic genetic inevitability, which is why I encourage everyone to squeeze and love their pets and family because you just never know. 4, these types of insane and cruel accusations have only come from snark communities with the transparent goal of hurting me. Ryan is the only person to actually try to legitimize this cruelty by including it in a video essay about the murder of a child and canonize it as a reasonable criticism against me. RIP to my beloved Shredder, who I loved like my own child. And he attaches this picture of them together. There's also this post that Chief Notel put on the HH Production subreddit with the title, Mr. Beard blatantly lies in Papa's chat, and it's Ryan saying in Papa Gets chat. The song is not about Ethan, by the way. It's a parody of David talking about murder in his songs. I was only slightly referencing him. I also make fun of Hassan. Entangled We replies, only slightly referencing him. Show a picture of a Yorkie. Shows the top hat meme from the first Shredder tattoo. Admits it's about Ethan in the replies of the pinned comments. Yeah, fuck off, Ryan. And Ad Puzzleheaded says, also admits it's about Shredder to Ethan in DMs. Ryan then responded to this on his Instagram story by saying, in my recent song, I briefly poked fun at Ethan for feeding his dog too much cheese. Here is him agreeing with me that he fed him too much cheese. I never said that Ethan intentionally killed his dog or that the cheese was 100% the cause of death, but he did feed him too much cheese, which Ethan agrees is dangerous. So I made fun of him. End of story. Ethan Klein then responds to Ryan Beard by posting a parody that Puzzlehead made on his Instagram story, where it says, "In my recent song, I briefly poked fun at Eric Clapton for letting his son fall out the window and showing pictures of kids that looked exactly like his kid on the screen. Here is him agreeing with me that he should have been there. I never said that he intentionally pushed his son out the window or that a lack of supervision was 100% the cause of his death, but they did leave the window open, which Eric agrees was dangerous. So I made fun of him. End of story. Shout out Puzzlehead." Yeet posts these on his page with the caption, "Ethan Klein responds to Ryan Beard's IG story explanation of why he made fun of Shredder," and Relorot replies, "Ryan Beard was writing essays justifying the song, calling it a subtle jab. Then Ryan was in Papa Got's chat saying the song wasn't even about Ethan. The entire song is about Ethan's dog Shredder. Uses its death date. Ethan responded to it. Ryan deleted his own comments justifying it, attaching the stuff we've already looked at, the message from Papa Got, etc." And Relorot continues, "The references to Hassan are 2 mentions of shock within 20-second time span. The rest of the 4-minute song uses Shredder's likeness, death date, and multiple use of overfeeding of cheese as the cause of death throughout the entire song." And here's the lyrics from the part of the song about shocking. It says, "I only kill them in my dreams. I only kill them in my dreams. I never shock them in my streams. I feed them the right amounts of cheese. I only kill them in my dreams. I only kill them in my dreams. I never shock them in my streams." Again, Puzzleheaded Age puts the Instagram story that we looked at earlier from Ethan parodying Ryan, captioning it, "New Ryan Beard Insta story. Ryan, this is what you sound like." An acceptable lemon replies, "All the lies aside, even if the cheese bullshit was 100% true, making fun of someone for a mistake they made that led to a loved one dying is one of the cruelest things I can imagine doing. It's up there with deportation ASMR and Westboro Baptist Church coming to funerals with their burning in hell signs. Why would anyone deserve to be made fun of for something like this? What is with all these psychopaths in this sphere?" And OP replies, "I truly don't know. That's why we're all so confused." And Lack Frenchie says, "I honestly think some dummies forget that the people they've watched for so long are real people with real feelings. They think that one more poking fun of them doesn't matter because Ethan is used to it." Over on Leftovers Age 3, DS Bad posts Ryan Beard's original story and Ethan's parody and captions it by saying, "Update to my previous post. Ethan Klein was sharing a fake Ryan Beard story post with the real context swapped for his strange analogy. We will give this butthurt alert a level 7 on the Mauled meter." And Cut You replies, "Does he think people don't make fun of Eric Clapton for doing so much cocaine he let his son fall out of a window?" And Gooey Goon says, "Pedo troll, the Eric Clapton of dog care negligence. Does he truly believe Clapton shares no accountability for what happened? Not to mention, comparing him cheesing a dog to death for years does not compare to a 4-year-old boy falling out of a 53rd floor apartment building window. Even if Shredder was beloved, these are just plainly not comparable things." And unequivocally maybe replies, "Eric Clapton wasn't even present when Connor fell. Connor was in the apartment with his mom who had custody of him, his nanny, and a maintenance worker. He was a shitty absent father. But there was no culpability for the horrible accident there. I think the guilt he felt was mostly that he wasted the precious 4 years Connor was alive, and that he was too scared when he got the call to rush to the scene, and his son died without him. Eric Clapton is a piece of shit for many reasons, but as far as I know, he had 0 parts in the events of that day." A couple people also tweeted about the situation, and Ryan responded to them, like the girl with a microphone who tweets out, "Excellent video, Ryan Beard. I'm sure your bedazzled personalized shock collar is in the mail." And Ryan replies, "You do realize I also made fun of Hassan in that exact same song." And girl with a microphone says, "Ethan didn't kill his dog, you absolute ghoul." And an Alfredo parody account, Ethan's other dog, replies, "Bro, you were just being a cruel asshole implying it was his fault my brother died." Howling Burrito tweets out, "Ryan Beard announces a Hassan bad video. Hassan starts throwing a fit, which inevitably causes Ryan to give into peer pressure. Backs down. Has 0 problem with calling Ethan Klein a dog murderer. Gotta love where Ryan picks and chooses to have a spine, Lamau. This is why you can't ever trust a leftist. Ryan Beard was only good for a Destiny bad at a time where Destiny has 0 favor from the public. Now he went for easy pickings going after H3. But you can't make the every time Hassan lies video because of audience backlash." And Ryan replies, "First of all, the video that I canceled was criticizing both Ethan and Hassan. Second of all, the song that I just released also made fun of Hassan for probably shocking his dog. I've criticized Hassan many times, including in the song that you are currently referencing." And Howling Burrito replies, "First and foremost, you canceled the video once Hassan/H3 Snark spanked your ass over the announcement of a critique video on him. Second of all, no one is going to take a song seriously. You know this full and well considering you made a 90-minute Destiny video. Stop being a pussy." And he attaches this screenshot of a Ryan Beard tweet where Ryan says, "Hey everyone, so I've decided to pussy out of making a video about Ethan and Hassan, lol. When I announced that I was working on a video trying to get a level-headed perspective on the situation, critiquing everyone involved, I didn't expect that I would be threatened by Hassan and attacked by the H3 Snark subreddit for weeks and get a bunch of threats in my DMs. I've kind of realized that everyone in the internet is super entrenched in their opinions on this stupid drama war, and no one is really interested in hearing me try to give nuanced takes on it. And I kind of just want to swear off talking about leftist/liberal infighting in general. Anyway, free Palestine. If you all want to think that I'm a liberal Zionist because I think BadEmpanada is a disgusting psychopath for his history of doxing and brigading and threatening to kill people and harassing people and saying the left should care less about anti-Semitism, you can feel free to see me that way. And if you want to call me a pussy for backing out, you would probably be right. I just think the online left is an absolute shit show right now, and I just want to move on and do my own thing. And Howling continues saying, I'd have more respect for you if you just admit that you went after Ethan Klein because it's easier to get away with than going after Hassan. And Ryan says, that makes absolutely no sense when I equally made fun of Hassan in the exact same song I made fun of Ethan in, which you are currently referencing. And Howling says, it absolutely does, considering you went with the H3 snark narrative that Ethan killed his dog and comparing to David, a jackass. Equal footing would have been making fun of Hassan's dead dog Fish, not the current living one. Stop the cap, buddy. And Ryan replies, I don't think Ethan intentionally killed his dog. I think he fed him too much cheese, which could have potentially been dangerous for him, which Ethan agrees with. Now there's a whole bunch more of that interaction between Ryan Beard and BadEmpanada. If you want to see a video going over that in particular, let me know in the comments. But for now, a shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko, Sal Salad, Coldest Bandito, and Captain Crash Out. I thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.